The YSL RICO case is unlike any other RICO case. Out of 28 members of YSL that were arrested and placed on the RICO indictment, 13 members have now turned on Young Thug and snitched on him. Prosecutors have outlined in court files that they only want Young Thug. The truth is, no one wants to sit in prison for 15 years on RICO charges, so being able to snitch on the kingpin and granted witness protection in a nice neighborhood is a no-brainer. Lawyers in court revealed that Young Thug is about to lose his life to this RICO case, and this has really affected Young Thug in the courtroom, as we now understand why this famous clip of Young Thug banging his head on the table in the courtroom was from. Leave a like on the video if you're a fan of Young Thug. I'm curious how many fans are watching today. Now, sources claim that this is Young Thug's reaction to the courtroom releasing new information of YSL Woody being a federal informant, and that he's the reason the feds were able to solve over 50 crimes that were all committed by YSL and other street teams in Atlanta. As shared by DJ Academics, this tweet: truth teller YSL Woody popped out back on the gram last year after cooperating with the police for 3 hours and solving over 50 crimes, telling on Young Thug, YFN Lucci, as well as others. Ironically, in his caption, he claims that he didn't cry or cooperate. Just as his tweet stated, before YSL Woody became a snitch, he posted this on his Instagram in 2021. I sat in jail days, nights, months, and years. I didn't know my outcome. I didn't call on God. I didn't cry or cooperate. I started working and understanding myself, realizing who I am and what I'm worth. Jail gave me time to think, grow, and understand. Only point I have to prove is showing my people that whatever we put our mind to, that we can do it, and stay away from bad energy. Focus and believe in yourself. Alongside the caption, YSL Woody took a photo alongside the YSL mansion that just so happens to be owned by Young Thug, the man that he is now snitching on today. At this point, so many YSL members that Young Thug thought of as brothers are turning on him daily. And to make matters worse, Young Thug is battling one of the hardest court cases to beat all by himself, as his best friend Gunna, who snitched on him, has now broken his silence from the case, making a plea that he is not a snitch. On February 22nd, Gunna's lawyer released this new statement regarding Gunna snitching, with Academics tweeting, Gunna's lawyer puts out another statement saying Gunna ain't no truth teller, and he will not help put King Slime behind bars. With this statement added to his tweet, comment on article from Gunna's co-lead defense counsel Steve. After reading Miss Wick's outstanding, insightful article, I am obligated to say for the record one more time, Gunna has never been interviewed by or cooperated with law enforcement or prosecutors in the RICO case, nor have his attorneys proffered information on his behalf. What was said at his Alford plea hearing was solely to resolve his own case. It cannot be used by the prosecution against Young Thug or any other defendant. Now, what Gunna's lawyers is stating is actually correct. In case you're unaware, the case where Gunna snitched on Young Thug, it wasn't in the RICO case. It's actually a separate court case where Young Thug and Gunna were pulled over in a vehicle, and inside of the car was a firearm as well as narcotics. Now, Gunna claimed in court the firearm and narcotics are not his. Now, obviously, if they aren't his, this would then land on Young Thug. So yes, he technically did not snitch in the RICO case, but he did snitch in a completely separate case.
You agree or acknowledge that statements are true, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
I became affiliated with YSL around 2016. Is that true as it pertains to you, Mr. Kitchens?
Yes, ma'am.
YSL is a music label, and you have personal knowledge that members or associates of YSL have committed crimes in furtherance.
Yes, ma'am.
You were present when law enforcement officers stopped a vehicle in which you were present along with Jeffrey Williams, wherein hydrocarbons and a firearm were recovered. These items did not belong to you.
Yes, ma'am.
And do you acknowledge the following statement? I recognize, accept, and deeply regret that my talent and music indirectly furthered YSL to the detriment of my community. YSL again. Is that your statement or acknowledgement?
Yes.
Even Young Thug has been stressing and crying because he wants help from YSL members. Instead, they just snitch on him to get released, as YSL members have been snitching on Young Thug ever since day one of the court case.
He's the one directing traffic. He is the one they're all afraid of. He's the one that's king slime. He is the most dangerous of the 28, Judge. And I implore you not to grant him a bond. He is dangerous. If he gets a burner, Judge, and the court may know this, a lot of the communications that Mr. Williams is on FaceTime, because it's not traceable, it's not trackable. Judge, I will also say that we have taken proffers from fellow from Mr. Williams. Some are on this indictment, some are not. They have stated uniformly that Mr. Williams is dangerous. They are afraid of him, that if they cross him, he will them and their family. And they were very clear about that.
Concerns that this court has is danger to persons and to intimidate other witnesses and obstruct the administration of justice. So and for those reasons in the aggregate, I'm going to deny bond at this time.
With allegedly 13 snitches in the YSL case going against Young Thug, it's clear the prosecutors only want him. This was even proven when a YSL member was allegedly trying to set up Young Thug in the courtroom. It is rumored that a prosecutor allegedly told this YSL member that if he commits this act in the courtroom, it can help him be released early, as it's setting up Young Thug for a serious charge. Now, this man tried slipping Young Thug something illegal in front of several cameras and security guards in the courtroom. As it was announced, my colleague Mark just obtained surveillance video that shows the moment prosecutors accuse Young Thug and his co-defendant, Khalif Adams, of conduring a hand-to-hand deal in the courtroom. As the Twitter thread continues, prosecutors say the surveillance shows Adams walking over to where Young Thug is seated with his attorney. He then drops narcotics in his hand, and a deputy confronts Young Thug, and he turns the item to authorities. When deputies searched Adams, they found him in possession of narcotics wrapped in a plastic and food seasoning seal to conceal the odor. According to investigators, Adams was then taken to Grady Hospital after he appeared to ingest other items of contraband in an effort to conceal the extent of his crimes within the courtroom. Prosecutors then filed a motion asking the court to make a finding of fact that court was delayed on January 18th because of the actions of defendant Williams as well as defendant Adams. To the final tweet stating, an attorney for Young Thug responded to the allegations that his client was involved in the deal, with this audio of one of Young Thug's lawyers reacting to these allegations while being interviewed.
The reality is Mr. Williams had nothing to do with what went on in the courtroom on yesterday. One of the co-defendants on his way to the restroom attempted to pass something to Mr. Williams, who immediately turned it over to the deputy.
He did not know it was allegedly Percocet?
Did not know. Well, we don't know what it is. Did not know what it was, turned it over to the deputy right away. The deputies took action. The individual who had the contraband, not Mr. Williams, was taken into the back.
Now, with the way the YSL RICO case is going, many say that Young Thug has now lost his life practically, as the case has gotten so bad that the lawyers aren't even trying to have Young Thug released anymore on house arrest. As when Gunna was released in the courtroom, Young Thug's lawyers argued for his release as well, as he needs to run a multi-million-dollar company. He has many people depending on him for financial security from the work, from his own family, and so on. But prosecutors were ready for this from Young Thug's lawyers, as the prosecutors brought up to the judge in the courtroom that Young Thug has been using his Twitter account to commit crimes while in jail, as a tweet was sent out on Young Thug's Twitter stating, "I'm talking with my roommate and we're wondering if you could swim 100 miles from the middle of the ocean back to shore, at Michael Phelps." Now what seems like an innocent tweet sent out by his manager turned ugly, as here's Young Thug's lawyer defending him.
Williams is in a jail outside of Fulton County. There are 0 cell phones in that jail.
That last tweet that was sent out to Michael Phelps is recorded. It's been investigated by the sheriff of that county, and it was a conversation that's recorded between Mr. Williams and a member of his close friendships, that he asked the other person who has control of his Twitter account. That is not a reason to...
Well, this is part of the conversation, Mr. Steele, and you and others are going to need to have with your clients, because this is part of the state's concern. I mean...
That was an innocent... That's nothing bad. Asking somebody to tweet to Michael Phelps, "Can you swim 100 miles in the ocean?" That has nothing to do with intimidation. So I'd ask you,
well, if I can communicate through a family member or somebody else, then I can communicate something else.
Everything okay over there?
Sorry.
Yeah. Okay, your family was concerned that something was going on. You're fine, right?
Yes, I'm great.
Okay, cool.
I did some research on why this is happening. Allegedly, Young Thug is telling his music manager over the jail phone to send out certain tweets on his Twitter account. These tweets consist of secretive messages inside of the tweet, as well as secretive words for certain crimes to be committed that only YSL members would know the code of. As the secretive tweet theory all began when YSL Woody snitched on Young Thug, as YSL Woody's family was then targeted after it was realized that Woody became a snitch. Again, it is a theory, but it's definitely one to keep an eye on, and so is the entire YSL case, so make sure you subscribe to the channel.